So, creepy. The movie's creepy. Hey, what's up guys? Me, Anthony here to give you guys another movie review. And this time I'm going to do something a little bit different. There's not a lot of good movies coming out, or just movies in general coming out. So I decided I'm just going to watch some movies I haven't seen before. And what better way to do that than to watch some Christina Ricci movies. Christina Ricci is one of the actors that I grew up on. I watched like movies like Sleepy Hollow, Casper, a movie that not a lot of people know, just people that watched the Disney Channel when I was a kid. Gold Diggers, that was a really good movie that me and my sister used to watch all the time. But needless to say, I just grew up with Christina Ricci stuff, so I decided to watch some movies with her in it that I haven't seen before. So I went on IMDb and I just typed in her name, and this one caught my eye. It's called The After.Life, or After.Life, something, I don't know. But The After.Life, this movie is weird. I feel like I say that a lot in my movie reviews, but I've been watching a lot of weird stuff, and this one's no different. The After.Life tells the story of a teacher played by Christina Ricci who's suffering from depression, and her life is just not going the way that she wants. She ends up in a car accident where she is presumed dead, or is she? The coroner, played by Liam Neeson, is in charge of making sure that her body is ready for burial. But he apparently has the ability to speak to the dead, and it's his job to help them along so they can become more comfortable and accepting of their fate. Right off the bat, I thought this movie was actually pretty good. It really has a really bad review on Rotten Tomatoes and anywhere else that I looked. Like, people hate this movie, and in particular it was because of the ending, what happens at the end. And after watching the movie, I can totally understand why you would hate it, but I loved it. I loved how batshit crazy the ending was, and just this whole movie in general. Because this whole movie revolves around, is Christina Ricci dead or not? And Liam Neeson, is he a bad guy or not? And it's just both of those things coming together. And the way that they portrayed that and did that in this movie, I thought was actually pretty creative and well done. I mean, there was like legit times in this movie where I thought I knew what was going on. I was like, okay, she's 100% dead. But then they'll do something, or a character will say something that will just totally make me think, second guess my idea, and it's like, okay, no, she's not. She's actually dead. But then 30 minutes later, I'll go back to my first theory. It was, no, she's actually dead. And there's not a lot of movies out there that do that, just keep me on my toes and surprise me. So just for that aspect alone, I would just give it some points. There's a reason why a lot of people don't like this movie, and I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. There's some bad stuff in this film. In particular, the mom of Christina Ricci's character in here, she's bad. Her acting's bad, and she's just a bad person all around. I mean, there's a scene in here where she's like looking at the dead body of her daughter, and the first thing she says is, "Your fault because I'm sad." What the fuck? And you wonder why Christina Ricci's character in the movie has depression. She grew up with a mom like that. Justin Long is also in this movie. He plays Christina Ricci's not fiance. He doesn't really get a chance to, propose to her because she runs away and then she gets killed, or gets in a car accident. But his character is like your typical boyfriend that has grief because he didn't get a chance to say and do the things that he wanted to do. So he goes into kind of this craze state where he's like wants to find out. He thinks she's alive, and he's yelling at people. At one point he slaps a kid named Jack in this movie, and I legit was so pissed and so mad that he did that. Like, it got me emotional, because I mean, Jack, this little kid in here, this poor little kid, his mom is horrible in the movie, and Christina Ricci's character, who was his teacher, and that was the only person that he actually cared about, and that cared about him, and then she's dead, and then comes Justin Long and just freaking slaps him. I was like, dude, I hope you freaking get in. But let's talk about Jack. This kid, I think he's probably the best character in the movie. He's the most interesting one, and the one that I cared the most about, because like I said, he's just a poor little kid that has a really bad family situation. He just wants to have friends and be loved, and the one person that actually cared for him is dead, and he has like a weird relationship with Liam Neeson's character, and because Liam Neeson's character can see the dead and stuff, and then the kid says like, I can kind of see the dead too, because I saw my teacher, and I thought she was dead, but she's not really dead. And Liam Neeson's like, I'm gonna take you under my wing, kid, and I'm gonna teach you how to be a sociopath. And I was like, okay, if you guys make a sequel, I just want to see that. That's all I want to see. Just Jack and Liam Neeson. I can already see it, Jack. Just be called Jack, or in this case, Jack.Life. Christina Ricci is Christina Ricci in here. I like Christina Ricci. Like I said, I call her the goth queen because she pretty much is that person that plays all these dark roles in her. It's like her and Winona Ryder. So she's like perfect to play a corpse in here because she already looks like she's dead. Like I said, she has the complexion of a zombie. So it works out perfect. One of the things I didn't like in this movie is they pretty much take any excuse to show Christina Ricci's naked body. And at first, I'm like, hey, you know, I'm a dude. I don't care. And I like Christina Ricci. And I'm like, all right. But then at a point where they keep on showing it and they keep on doing scenes like that, it's just like, are you just doing it just to do it now? There's literally scenes where she's just walking from one end to the hall to the next, and then they'll cut to a different scene. And I'm sitting there. Did you really need to show that? It doesn't build anything to the story. So yeah, that kind of just made me a little bit awkward. It was just like I was watching this. Thank God I wasn't watching this with any family members. It's kind of like the time I watched True Blood with my mom. Yikes. The CGI is also really, really bad. I know it's a movie from 2011, so I'm not expecting anything pretty big, but I think they could have done a little bit more practical effects or just not do those scenes in general because the CGI is very, very noticeable. Liam Neeson is creepy as ever in this film. The dude hasn't changed. He looks the goddamn same. I was watching this and I was like, I wonder what he looked like when he was young, because I feel like he's been looking the exact same forever. And I looked up pictures of him. I'll show you right here, and I was like, okay, he looks the same. He looks the same, just less wrinkly. But Liam Neeson, he's good in here. He's good at doing creepy. I feel like he's always been pretty good at being a creepy kind of person because he just looks creepy and he kind of talks creepy, especially with his American accent, because it's quite not really, you can kind of hear his Irish accent. I think he's Irish, right? His Irish accent in there, but then it's kind of like Americanized, but then it just comes out creepy. But overall, I thought this movie was actually pretty good. And like I said, the whole dynamic of is she dead or isn't he dead, and just the way that they played out is pretty impressive to me. But what do you guys think of After.Life or After.Life, whatever you want to say it? Have you ever heard of this movie before? What do you think of Christina Ricci or Liam Neeson? Let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, do all that stuff. And remember guys, keep watching movies.